yo, look at this fool, man. This dude is damage controlling for Concord. Grand opening, grand closing. Concord.
That game was in production. Yeah. That game was in production when Sony bought that studio.
When they bought it.
Oh, here we go with the excuses. Oh, yeah, this game was being developed even before Sony decided to touch it, man. Look at these PlayStation fanboys taking no accountability as to why this game failed. Oh, it was not properly advertised. Sony had all these other great games going on. I mean, there's a reason as to why this game flopped, man. Let me tell you this, man. With a install base of 4.7 thousand K, right? Even I got more views than Concord had concurrent players. With a 70 million PlayStation 5 owners, I thought you PlayStation cats buy games. But apparently you don't.
That's what I don't. Yeah, when they bought them, that game was already like 5.5 years.
Oh, here we go. Here we go with the excuses. But Sony still put the money up for it, though. So regardless of what you want to say that Sony didn't inherently develop the game, they still funded it. They still thought the project was good enough for them to run on their platform. Look at you, man. You PlayStation fanboys can't just admit that you took an L.
So let's say whatever. Anywhere from 3 to 5. We're not going to, it's really semantics. But any single dollar or cent that was invested in this studio, from the materials, the logistics, building the server,
the advertisements,
managing the servers, and then from launching the game and managing the servers while everybody's playing it, they lost every single money. They did not make not one penny because they're completely refunding everybody, right? Other than the people who don't submit for I think it's automatic, actually.
Wow, it's automatic, man. Sony's out here giving you automatic refunds, man. I even searched the game up, man. Concord, you can't even find it, bro. It has been erased out of existence, man. This is crazy, bro. I have no faith in Sony trying to bring out these online multiplayer games, man. If this is all you're doing is canceling every other multiplayer game, like Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer, Spider-Man The Great Web multiplayer, it shows you that Sony don't have the money to be able to do this. And this was a problem that was going on even during the PS3. That's why Sony said, okay, we're going to do single-player games, and we're going to rely on third-party to make the multiplayer games for us, which did work with the PS4. But now Sony's like, oh, snap. And this is why you don't understand as to why the Activision Bethesda deal was so important to Microsoft, because now they look at it and like, hold on, we're giving them money. Before it was okay, you know, they worked a few little deals with Call of Duty, but now that Microsoft owns them, they're like, oh, snap. They're making the money. We're not making anything in return. They're using us. And this is why Sony's trying to differentiate themselves by having their own multiplayer gaming experiences, because they don't want Overwatch and Diablo and all these Xbox games that come to their platform to do well. You guys do know that, right? So when you guys sit there and say, oh, Sony's stealing games. Well, those stolen games is what's hurting Sony financially. And this is why I was trying to tell you people, Microsoft Trojan horsed your own company. People have been stating this, and all you can sit there and say, oh, you're just salty because we get to play your games. Ain't nobody salty, because the more this continues will be the more reason for Sony not to continue making any more consoles. The end.
And I think they're going to cancel I think for those who bought it digitally, it's an automatic refund, and it's going to be automatically locked out. So you're not going to have even if you want to.
And what's even worse about that is the fact that Sony could have had this game. They could have refunded everybody, gave this game to everybody. I mean, PUBG used to sell the game, and then they went free to play. Why not do that? Fall Guys did the same thing. Why make... Well, they didn't make any money, but I'm just saying, you've already funded it. You've already got the money. You don't have to put no seasonal updates. Just have the game be pushed through the subscription service. Just like what you did with Foam Stars. What is the problem? Why does everything got to be, oh, you have to buy the game? Well, GameStop, they're not making any money by doing that. Well, I mean, yes and no, but at least the PlayStation gamers can benefit. You make it free to play, make it for everybody. How about, at this point, just drop it on Xbox. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to do anything. I know that, but I mean, at this point, you've already made the game. You've already made it. So to cancel the game, even though the game has already been established and made, is the most anti-consumer thing that I've ever seen. Y'all want to sit there and talk about, oh, Redfall and Bleeding Edge and failures, right? You want to talk about that? But at least those games still got their servers. So if I get 3 of my friends and say, hey, guys, let's play some Redfall, we can do that. Hey, guys, let's get a lobby of Bleeding Edge. Let's, see what people are talking about with this game, even though it's trash. We can still do that. See, this is what you people don't understand. Microsoft has control over their multiplayer gaming experiences, while Sony don't. It's gotten to the point that even games like Gears of War on the 360 has more concurrent players than Concord, bro. Like, you gotta ask yourself, man, how is a 360 game from over 18 years ago outperforming a new game? And for Sony guys, they're like, we have never seen this before. They're on that well, I ain't never seen this before, no. I ain't never seen this before, no. I ain't never seen this before, no. I ain't never seen this before, no.
Keep it. The only people that probably gets to keep the game is the physical. They're the only ones that will have...
And why would you want to keep a physical copy to this turd?
The game, but it's not going to work, right? Because the servers are down, right? But that's just going to be one hell of a collector's item, right?
What are you talking about, a collector's item? You can't even play the game. Oh, Concord's gonna be one hell of a bro. Listen, man. I get it. Like Sega, there's a lot of Sega Saturn games that didn't do well, but there's one thing is the reason as to why people collect it. 1, you can play it. 2, they're actually good games. Unlike Sony, Concord it's a bad game. Nobody wants it, and you can't play it. This game is worthless. Ain't nobody want to pay, we're going to pay $300 for a game that we can't even play just so I can put it on my trophy case and say, yeah, I'm a real bona fide pony. I got Concord. That's like PlayStation's Earthbound, except Earthbound is actually a good game. Overrated, but good game nonetheless.
Because that's one thing in games. Games that like monumentally flop. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm about to buy me a copy and leave it in the wrapper.
Bro, this dude don't know nothing about collecting, man. Bro, collecting the game first off, before you even say that. Because I know what people are saying. Well, games, you got a lot of rare games. But the difference is I can play the game. Another difference is the fact that the games are actually good. Like, these are things you're not taking into consideration. Nobody's going to want a physical copy of Concord because you can't play it. It's worth absolutely nothing. What are you talking about, man? It's a collect. I'm going to go buy me one like a dumb pony and just put it on my shelf and hope and thinking I get millions of dollars. Ain't nobody want that game, bro. It's not sought after. The game is not well liked and it's not beloved by anybody. You know what I mean? That's not a game people are going to look at 20 years and be like, man, I wish I had that on my shelf, because it's not a good game. It represents everything bad about gaming. Not good.
That shit's going to be a fucking collector's item. If they don't bring that shit back, 20 years, that's just going to be like $500.
I think this dude has nothing. I think this dude knows nothing about collecting, man.
You know, like E.T. E.T.'s like $5,000.
E.T. you can play. There's a difference. E.T. I can actually play. If I own a copy of that game, I can play it. How are you going to compare something to a game that I can play to one that I can't?
For that game.
Like, maybe if the server had bots or something like that, maybe people might want to see it, or like a Devil's Third, or where you can still play the single player, then that's different. But you can't access the game unless you're online.
It's weird. Gaming is weird. Gaming loves shit that don't work in this mountain anyway.
What? Bro, and the fact that you got these dummies in this chat not even checking you on that, man, shows you that you ain't got nothing but a bunch of yes men.
Just so you know, I don't want to say Firewalk Studios was founded in 2018.
Okay.
So there's no way it could be 8 years. That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The studio was founded in 2018.
So 8 years might be an exaggeration, but even if it's 3 years,
It was all a dream. Concord failed in these magazines, and nobody wants to buy this game because it's so trash. It's so bad. What's up? We got Biggie Smalls in the chat.
But even now, we've been saying that for a while. Like the multiplayer
one of his favorite bangers is out in the YouTube gaming streets. I like myself. I mean, this man's on that. What's that dude from American Idol? The big black fat dude, Ruben Stutter. Except this one, he stutters. You know, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. You hear the congos in the back. I like myself. Come on, everybody. I like myself. Cause you know I like myself. I like myself.
PC, they don't have to pay subscription to play online. But PS gamers do.
It was all a dream.
We talked about it. M talked about it. And you know what's crazy? We got shamed for it. They looked at us like we're the fanboys.
You are. What is this dude talking about? You is a fanboy.
So even when you criticize PlayStation, you're still fanboys.
Yeah, because you're not coming at it from a respectable standpoint. You're saying that Concord's going to be a collector's item. Bro, the game sucks. You can't play the game. How is that a collector's item, man? Maybe for you ponies out there, you know, if you want to collect every single facet of Sony's failures throughout the years before they decide to cease to exist, then yes, I guess. But other than that, the game has no value.
Like I'm thinking, like I'm looking like, why the fuck are they going on M? He's actually, you know, telling what Sony's doing is bullshit, and you still can't get it right. So at this point, whatever. I remember
this is what we're doing, man. We're showing the fact that SOCOM had more hours than Xbox Live at the time, and look how fast that changed. Look how fast that changed. And you know what's crazy about this? See, now you're in my territory. This is where you messed up. Puerto, you made a huge mistake when you decided to do this. It took for Halo 2 to completely fundamentally change the way we go about online console gaming. It popularized the way we went about gaming. Yeah, SOCOM did see some success very early on in its career, but guess what? The game died off very quickly. It died off as soon as it started. And like I said, this goes back to my original argument. Sony cannot have a popular online franchise last any longer than 10 years. You tell me one online multiplayer game that Sony has had gone for 10 years straight. 10, 15, 18, 20 years like Xbox. You tell me. Are any of those online games still going strong? A lot of those franchises are dead and gone.
Then Concord was in development before Sony got them. So I'm willing to give it, like M said, I agree 100%. Sony deserves the right to make this stuff because
this is what hurts Sony is the fact that Microsoft came in there with the original Xbox and completely changed the gaming landscape on its head. They had think about what I'm about to say, one killer app, and that was enough to completely destroy every single multiplayer game that was on the PlayStation 2 at the time. Microsoft popularized, Sega introduced these things, I understand that, but Microsoft, Xbox popularized online gaming. Think about it. Do people talk highly about these games, online games on PS3? No, you guys talk about single-player games. What do people talk about on Xbox 360, guys? Oh, we had Lost Play, even though it's not exclusive. But still, they talk about their online games a lot. If you notice, Gears of War, you know, the Halos, the Crackdowns, you know, a lot of their online games, man. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. Microsoft's push, and this is what I'm trying to say. You guys say Microsoft's bad for gaming, but if it wasn't for Microsoft, who's to say y'all probably still be exchanging friend codes if it was still Sony and Nintendo? Or you're still doing it on Nintendo. So imagine that.
PS2 to PS3. And again, they got better from PS3 to PS4. It
got better on the PS4 because of why, Pope of PlayStation? Because they copy the Xbox. That's why. See, this is why I don't understand as to why ponies don't give respect to where it's due. The PS4 had good online because of Xbox's 360 superior online. That's why, with the party chats and everything like that. It's so funny how PlayStation fans want to take credit. You guys stole your design from Super Nintendo's controller. That's all you guys do is steal things from people. That's all y'all do. Steal things and claim it. Oh, PlayStation did it first. PlayStation was the first to have analogs and do so. Bro, that's all you guys do. All y'all do is this.
We don't get a Horizon Zero Dawn unless they do well with Uncharted and those games. And so and PS2, I had one, I remember. I don't remember a ton of first-party banging IP. Doesn't mean they didn't have it.
You see that? Said by a PlayStation fan that didn't know nothing about the PlayStation 1 and 2's games. Like I said, as much as I love the PS1 and 2, as much as I enjoy those platforms really relied on third party, bro. I'm telling you, if you tell a diehard PlayStation fan to make a top list of the best 50 Sony-owned games for the PlayStation 1 and 2, I can guarantee you they won't do it. They might add a Gran Turismo, but they ain't adding no Blasto. I mean, people, when we was playing, what was that game from Bushido Blade? These are all games that we was playing from everybody else, man. Sony had no involvement with a lot of these games. And this is why I'm trying to tell you. This is why when Sega found out about the PS1 heading into the gaming industry, the guy from Sega said, Sony don't know how to make games because Sony used to make games for the Sega CD. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. And all they would do was doing FMV games. And Sega said, Sony don't know how to make games. And they still don't. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be 100% honest, because when you look at the PS1 and 2, people, oh yeah, the Tekken 5, you know what I'm saying? We playing these games, the Tobal number 1 and 2, we playing Bloody Roar, you know what I'm saying? Those ain't exclusive, you know that, right? Huh? What about Scython Filter? What about Ape Escape? What about Parappa the Rap? Yeah, that Nightmare Creatures, Fighting Force, you know what I'm saying? These games bro, that game's on the N64. We got that say what, Pony? We got that Final Fantasy 7. We got exclusives. You can only play here right now. You know that ain't an exclusive, right? All Sony did, bro, and this is why I think the Sega Genesis won over the Super Nintendo, not trying to do console war stuff, because Sega relied on its own intellectual properties. And as much as I love the Super Nintendo, and there is definitely a lot of great games that Nintendo specifically made themselves, but you guys got to be honest, the Sega Genesis had a lot of their own in-house studios. For every Final Fantasy, Sega had a Phantasy Star. For every Mega Man, we had a Vector Man. So to me, if you're talking about the logistics of who was the better console, I would go as far to say that Sega was. And that, in my whole honest opinion, well, I know a lot of people going to probably have a problem with that because Sega did their own in-house studios. Sega owns Streets of Rage. Nintendo don't own Final Fight. So when you guys sit there and talk about, Nintendo had more games than Sega, well, what do you mean? More Capcom games, more Konami games, more, because none of these games are Nintendo exclusive. Let's get that corrected. None of those games are owned by Nintendo. They were just exclusive to that platform at the time. So, of course, when Sony came up with their platform, they knew they couldn't make games, but there's one thing they did. They made their hardware accessible to where companies wanted to work for them. Sega was doing some crazy stuff. Nintendo was doing cartridges. So, at that point, people already upgraded to the PS1. They're like, oh, it's easy to make games here. We can make games for this and this and this and that. It's accessible. And this is why a lot of these third-party games to these Sony dudes, that's why they feel that these games are exclusives. Let me tell you how the PlayStation 1 won that generation. PlayStation 1 won that generation because all they did was copy the Super Nintendo. Don't make any of our own games, make our system accessible, and that's it. And they'll just put the games on top of there for us. That's it. But if you really believe that the PS1 would have succeeded with games like Blasto 1, Jumping Flash, then at this point you're just kidding yourself, bro. You're just kidding yourself, bro. People bought the PS1 for Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. These are the games people wanted to play, bro. Konami games, Capcom games, you name it. People ain't picking up no PS1 for no Sony games. No Sony NFL Game Day, bro. I mean, this is what you Sony dudes is on, man. Sony has never been good. If you really look at it, Sony has never really been good. It's always been third party. PS2, same thing. Kingdom Hearts, Dirge of Super. This is all y'all people play is third party. So that's why you guys get offended when you see Nintendo and Xbox gamers, because they support their platforms for the games that they like. Now, I'm not sitting there telling you that they don't like third party, but they do pick up an Xbox for the Gears. They do pick up an Xbox for the Halo, Killer Instincts. They pick it up for Xbox-owned games. People that pick up a Nintendo 3DS or a Nintendo Switch pick it up for Nintendo-esque games. When you talk about PlayStation, you guys pick it up for third party. End of story. Until, you know what I'm saying? The only time Sony seen success with exclusives was during the PS4, and that was when there was not really that much competition.
But I don't remember a ton of it because they didn't have the Sight-On filter. That was Ben. They didn't. That was an independent game. That was a very big game.
And where is that game now?
PlayStation. So
What about Getaway? Where's that? Why be so fixated on Grand Theft Auto 6 when all Sony got to do is revitalize Gateway? Oh, Gateway. Oh, of course they're not going to do that because they know the game's going to fail. That's why.
Agree with both, but this my personality says you got to give them a chance to do it. Michael Jordan is arguably the greatest basketball
Bro, don't even compare a PS5 to Michael Jordan. Please.
Player in the world. He didn't make his high school cut. Okay, so what if he says, well, you know what? I'm just going to quit doing
How you going to compare the PS5 to Michael Jordan?
I'm going to go sell used cars. When I get out of college.
Or play baseball.
Or play baseball, yeah. So,
he was already a champion before that. This is the worst argument that I've ever heard in my life.
He flopped at baseball.
Yeah, he did. No, he did. He did flop, but he tried. Yes, he did.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You guys are trying to do E for effort. That's not how the industry works anymore. People are getting...
It doesn't...
People are getting laid off here.
No, I agree.
Oh, no. Puerto Rock acting like a baby. Sorry, guys. I had to turn the volume down because he's just screaming through his microphone.
We're in the PlayStation 2 generation or the 1 generation where there was an acceptable loss. Yoshida, those days are over. These guys are financiers. So I'm going to show you.
It's always been about like that. It's just the problem is with how big gaming has become and how expensive the budgets become, making $1 million off a game is not enough. Maybe back then, 25,000 copies for a Concord would have did well. You know what I'm saying? Because of the budget would have been low. So they could have been like, oh, okay, we're making enough money to still want to continue on. But with gaming becoming more expensive and a lot of games being overshot, and I do think a lot of franchises died because there was an oversaturation of games. There was too many games, guys. Y'all know that. Let's be honest. A lot of us weren't buying those games either. Y'all were at Blockbuster in Hollywood. There was too many games for you people to buy back then to say that we owned all of them. Okay? The only person I knew was my cousin, and he was the one that had every single piece. Dragon Guard, all that. That's how I learned how to play these games from him, because he had all of the PS2's games and stuff, man. Always put the CD in the wrong cover, but nonetheless, he had all the games.
Let me show y'all this, because let me.
I have a question.
Quick, hold on.
After you have this segment, can I give a question to J-Dub after?
Yeah, let me read the thing that you
got. Puerto Rock is so disrespectful, man. Like this dude only want to hear himself talk. You don't care. You got a podcast going on, and you don't even want to let the other podcasters talk.
It's misconstrued. The whole Sony's accepting loss. No, Sony never said that they will accept a loss on any game. What they did say, and I'm going to read it verbatim, it would be naive for us to assume that all 10 will be massive successes. So that is not a necessary condition for us to double first-party revenue. That is certainly not what we're assuming. Clearly, the distinction between a hit and not a hit is not a binary one. So what they're talking about is their parameter is not hit or not a hit. That's a game flop. Obviously, they have this bandwidth of is more analog, various level of successes. But I guarantee this is not acceptable. You cannot go to a shareholder and tell shareholders you spend millions of dollars and you can't get one penny. Heads are going to roll over this.
This man's losing it.
No, I disagree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Heads are going to roll over this.
And this has been going on ever since the PS2 with games like Halo 2, one killer app from Xbox completely destroyed Sony's whole online division. It's pathetic, bro. It really is sad when you think about it. Microsoft games catch on, but Sony games don't. It is what it is, man. As much as y'all want to say, oh, Sony, they're going to be here for the PS6, 7, and 8. I don't think so, bro. I mean, the writing is on the wall, bro. Like, as much as you guys want to sit there and damage control, bro, at the end of the day, I've told you guys before, consoles will cease to exist, and we're already starting to see the rudiments of it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, take care.